saw Charlie Wilson in concert. He sounded just like him.
That's one thing I appreciate about Charlie Wilson. I'm like, he's always sounded like himself.
Yeah, he sounded just like the radio. I was like, oh, snap.
Charlie. And I think my front, I mean, not that that matters, but I always feel like my front right here has always been different from the rest of my hair. I mean, I guess I do, but
All the time.
yeah, it's consistently, I won't say the problem child, but different.
Well, that hair, sorry y'all, that hair is coarse. Oh, there it goes. Look, for bloopers.
Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
I just can see a little bit.
Definitely.
I can see that.
Yeah, that's easy. And I explained on one of my YouTubes that, because people get the arguing in the comments about, oh, her hair is just thin. Thin ends doesn't always mean that they're unhealthy, but if your hair is thin, it's thin from the root to the tip. If that's just naturally how your hair is. But if your hair goes from dense to thin, then
I think I watched that video.
yeah, and I hope it made sense.
It did.
Because they ate me up about that thing there. They were mad. And you know, anytime you are cutting hair in the black community, it's triggering.
Yes.
It really is.
My mom is that way, but when I was relaxed and I would cut my hair, you cut all your hair? I said, Mom, it's hair to grow back.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way. Because we got some work to do.
Yes, ma'am. I've accepted it. While I was under the dryer, I was processing, so I'm good.
Aww.
I mean, like, I it's not your fault, and you know, it's the reality of what needs to be done. So I'm good with that.
Well, one of the things I just want to take a look at the hair itself, because now you expect some hair not to meet all the way to the ends, but whoever that is walking, they should be walking hard. Like, no. So, in this area, this is sometimes our perimeters are very weak, and they are also the ones that need a lot of moisture.
Okay.
So, definitely some splitting. What have you been seeing in your hair?
Well, I mean, I can mostly tell when, like, after I set it in a wash and go, like, I could tell I needed a haircut because it's like some of it is longer than the other little pieces is, you know, looking, I don't want to say odd, but not uniform. So, and I don't know if this is accurate or not, but I feel like sometimes too, when I know I need a haircut, it just seems like it's harder to work through the hair.
Well, that makes sense. You definitely needed a haircut, but what I'm finding, and my clients, when they come back, their hair is not in the same, they're not like ate up, because I'm pretty aggressive with making sure that I get everything. And so by the time they come back, their hair is pretty good to where all I'm doing is dusting, keeping those ends as tight as possible. But I'm not having to do, this is a repair cut versus maintenance. Okay. And there's a big difference. And I think the styling method for some, it's a lot of hands in hair. Protective styling is just that. True protective styling does a better job of length retention than setting and redoing your hair once a week and having your hair out. That's a no-brainer. That you're going to experience more. That's why you got more frequent haircuts, because number one, you were doing your own hair every single week, detangling, doing all the things that we were doing for wash and go. That's more manipulation. So anytime you have a style that requires more manipulation, even if it was a twist out where you're twisting your hair every other night with that high degree of manipulation, the hair can't take it. But then we add on the fact that we don't have the moisture. That's where we run into even more of a problem. So like my returning clients, once I get into it and I give them a good cut and they do the regimen, I'm seeing just really good results from doing it the way that I've been doing it. So I'm happy and they're happy. More importantly, I'm looking for the doggone camera on this thing. Because density and length, which one do you think is more important?
I would say density. Like if it's, like you said earlier, if from root to tip it has the same density, then that could be an indication that the hair is healthier. Length can just be artificial because, like I said, I can see this right here that look a little. It's not. You can see where the density stops. Like even here. I mean, even without my glasses on, I can see that. So, right. I would say the length is not an indication of good health of your hair.
That's my point, and I'm glad you understand that, because what I have found that if we start to concentrate on length only, sometimes you're missing the other equally as hard thing to get is density. And so sometimes it may take a few cuts to get that density in there. And there are a lot of people that think that just because their hair is long, that it's good. So have you been experiencing any breakage? I mean, that you are aware of?
Not that I'm aware of.
What about shedding?
So, again, I noticed with the shedding. So, again, if you wait a long time before you do your hair, there's going to be more shed hairs that you got to get out. But like when I washed my hair last week, it was like minimal shedding, it seemed like, because it was easy to move through. Also, yeah, I think I washed it sooner than I want to say it was from like Friday to Friday or something that I did my hair. But it was just so easy to work through. And it just seemed like it was a little bit of shedding. But I can't, I think it's hard for me to see, if there's breakage, because, it's mostly curly. So I don't know what to look for exactly. And then too, I'm forever moving the part around 1,000 times. So I'm like, oh, well, was it like this the last week? Is this the same size? I don't know. So.
Well, So I'm using my camera. I'm seeing some single strand knots. Mm-hmm. And the split ends are mainly on the ends. Okay. I'm not seeing like this whole feather duster situation or, that whole split up tree.
Okay.
At least not in that area. But overall, I mean, even if I did see it, if I find all of that, I mean, if you're not willing to walk out bald, which I'm not recommending, I'm not saying that.
I would have to say, okay, we got to stop somewhere, because if I come home with no hair, my husband would probably be like, what did you just do? Mm-hmm. Even though he knows I like short hair, but I think he's gotten a little bit accustomed to the curly hair, or more accustomed to it. Mm-hmm. Because I thought about it, I was like, man, if I just get a shortcut like when I was relaxed,
life would be easier. So
in my mind,
well,
it was easy. I mean, I didn't struggle with my relaxed hair. I even had it colored several times when I was relaxed. I mean, of course, I had to do all the things to, make sure it didn't break off, but it stayed healthy. I mean, I went to see my person who did it consistently, especially once I got the color.
Yes.
So.
And see, that's the thing. Haircare was actually being performed. And so a lot of people say, oh, I'm going back to the relaxer. Well, part of the relaxer, it's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if that's what you want to do. But you were actually getting your hair done.
Right.
So you didn't have your hands in the hair.
Yeah, so this was in 2008, I think. Yeah. When it was relaxed. You can't see the color the best in this one, but it did have some color.
Uh-oh. It's all right. Let me see. Oh, look at you. You look so pretty.
Thanks.
Beautiful.
So I stayed relaxed for a long time. Because, I mean, that's all I had been for a long time. I didn't plan to do, it was never my plan, I'm going to go natural. I just went through this period of, let's try all of the hairstyles. Mm-hmm. So I had got sewing, and then I did some crochet. Like, I was just doing all of the things and with my hair being short. And then, when I took it out, the person that I was going to at that time, she was like, your relaxer is just about going, what are you going to do? And I was like, I think I'm going to get another relaxer. She was like, no, you should grow it out and so then step over into, let's see, how do you do natural hair? Because I've never done it. So it was an experiment. Or experience, not experience. It was an experience in experiments. Because I just didn't know what to use or what to do. I still would get protected, like crochets or sew-ins from time to time, off and on. And like I said, I did that until like 2019 was my last protective or crochet. Yeah, because I got a crochet style for the international. And so after that,
where'd you go?
The last one we went to in 2019 was we went to the Netherlands.
Oh, we went to Australia.
Really? We went there in 2014.
Oh, really?
Oh, I want to go back.
I loved Australia.
I loved it.
Loved it.
I'm like, I want to go back. So, of course, it's easy to not have to worry about your hair when you are away. But again, I didn't know some of the things that I know now.
So now that your hair is blow dried out, I would definitely say medium density with fine strands.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. But again, that
your
probably
hair
has changed.
What did you get as a thought? What your essential elements?
What I was told when I first partnered, I had a medium density, with I think like a tight wavy texture.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's correct. But strand size, I think your strands, some of them are fine, and some of them are medium.
Okay.
So, but your hair is soft, kind of cottony.
Okay.
And like I told you before, with that sandy hair, that hair typically, it soaks up all the things. It loves moisture, and so it, for whatever reason, you have to really love on this hair.
Okay.
And give it the things, and it has the potential to really, really do very well. But when it's devoid of it, well, you know.
Right. Self-explanatory. And I guess as I'm getting older, the true color of the hair is more prevalent. Because, you know, my mom used to say that when I was younger. She was like, you don't have black hair. And I'm like, well, that's what people say. And she was like, your hair's not black. It's like sandy brown. And I'm like, I don't see that. But as I've been natural over the last few, or not natural, but wearing it in a wash and go more, I'm like, oh, because I'm like, well, why is this hair? Sometimes I can see it, like literally see it, like, oh, this hair is, the color is more pronounced than in other areas.
Well, part of it is the hair on the ends is the oldest, and our hair is definitely being exposed to the sun. And then think about, if you don't have a lot of moisture in the hair, you definitely gonna have some issues.
Because I actually noticed it more I feel like in the summer months. I was like, what's going on with my hair?
Yeah, if you don't have anything that, you know, has a little bit of even UV protection, some leave-ins have that.
Okay. And I'm outside a lot in service, so.
But if you were using, what was your gels of choice that you were using on a consistent basis?
Uncle Funky's Acrylic and ENNBA.
Okay. When did you start using ENNBA?
I started using ENNBA
because that wasn't a regular
last summer. And when I tried it, I was like, nope, we're not going back to any other. The ENNBA was the girl that made things better.
So, that being said, was that one that your stylist recommended,
No.
or you found it and you presented it?
You know, the first place I saw it on your page.
And
so
then, you used my code?
Well,
let's see what happened was.
So this is because I was like, don't be trying to ball this stuff. So another person that I communicate with is a tight curly. You know, we would message each other often about hair, and she said, Lachelle, you have to get this product. And I trust her judgment on, you know, like, because she tries a lot. She likes to try stuff, but I'm always like hesitant. She was like, you have to try this, especially, you know, you live in a humid place. So I tuned into some of the lives and So long story short, I got the ENNBA and didn't look back. Tried to not use ENNBA a couple times and was like, stop playing. And I just use ENNBA as my topper.
Well, here's the thing.
I love ENNBA.
Yeah, the base.
I haven't tried the other ones. I've just tried the original one, the first one.
It creates a slip that you don't have to fight with your hair with. Yes. And it does have a measure of moisture. I will say that it's a lot more moisturizing than other gels that I have tried, and that's what I like about it. However, you still need a leave-in moisturizer, and
okay.
I asked Abena whether she, and I've used it, and I've used different things, but again, I am not focused on the longevity. That's the selling tool, but I'm focused on the health of the hair. And so whether your hair frizzes, if you want to stay in a wash and go, you're going to have to do the things to keep your hair moisturized. I have clients that are still in wash and goes because that's what they like. Not everybody wants to walk around with a 2-strand twist or a braid down or protective styling. They don't care about all that. They're not trying to, retain the max amount of length. And so if you're trying to retain max length, then protective styling, things where you're not in your hair, manipulating your hair, that's the route to go. If you like your style, but you want it to be a healthier, now we're focusing on what is healthy for the wash and go and being okay with. But the funny thing is, their hair is doing even better since they started implementing some of the things that I've changed, and their hair is doing much better.
Yeah, I'm not, like I said, I like the wash and go because I feel like it's a style I can, successfully execute. But I have been thinking about, like, okay, well, it's eventually going to cool down. Hey, I can invest some time and do a 2-strand twist or do flat twist, because I've been trying to practice my flat twist because I was a little bit out of practice. I was never great at it, but not this last time, but a few wash and goes in a row, like I had, practiced some in the front just to see if I could make them look presentable. So I'm not opposed to putting my hair away, in something like that. That's fine with me, because I can get me some big earrings and some lipstick and be cute.
Okay.
That's
what we're talking about.
That's not an issue. It just, again, is a shift in, like, okay, well, yeah, you've done this, you know how to do it, but let's work on doing something else if you want to get what you want, and that's for your hair to be as healthy and as strong as possible. So I'm good with that.
That's good. And so the cut that we're doing, we're doing what we got to do.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I can already feel the difference in the hair. Like I said, the good thing was I do see areas where there's different rates of growth in the hair. Some of it, it's not that the hair is split all the way up to kingdom come, but it's going to be a little bit of a process to do the things that we need to do and to continue to retain the density.
Okay.
I think I'm seeing it's just looking better. It's feeling better. The ends are not as rough because those ends are going bye-bye.
Right. And again, admittedly, I'm glad that we're doing this too, because all I've had for the last 3 years is curly cuts. So, this is showing itself to be, okay, well, it's not a bad idea to not always do the same thing, because, again, things change and you need to reevaluate. And that's what I think was missing. I was looking for a point in the partnership previously of reevaluation, or realigning, like, okay, but we didn't get to that point. Or again, maybe I wasn't asking the right questions, because I felt like I asked some, but maybe they were not received well or not asked properly. So that's okay. You learn and you do better.
Yeah, and it could be. Sometimes we're laser focused. We have tunnel vision. That's what we've just done, and don't know how to really address the concerns without seeming like, oh, now I'm bending to the will of the internet. When the honest to God truth is, if you're not willing to do those things, you don't believe that they're real.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it comes down to. You don't believe that there's a real issue,
Mm-hmm.
or that there has been. And so you said it best: if it ain't broke, why fix it? But how would you know?
Right.
How would you know unless you were willing to investigate it yourself? And that's what I I guess I was willing to investigate it to see what's going on. Because even if my people weren't saying anything, one did. She asked, and she don't know to this day that I saw her in the Rada's chair. I saw her in the African hair guy's chair.
Mm-hmm.
I know my client's hair. I have photographic memory on. And I was like, wait a minute. Hold up. And so, I can assess my own people's hair. Look, come on with it. I'm not scared. Let me look at my work.
Mm-hmm.
Let me assess my stuff. And let's get to it.
Yeah. As you were saying that, it made me think about if you, and my husband will laugh at me sometimes when I say this, but it's like driving your car. You drive that car every day. You know what it sounds like. You know if it's a smooth. You know the car to a large degree, but just only listening to the car to look for a problem is not a true overall assessment. You have to take it in to get maintenance. They need to, pop the hood and look under there and look at some things. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how I felt. And maybe I should have used the illustration, but live and learn. But that's how I felt, or that's how I had been feeling, is that she was just kind of like looking at the outside of the car, but not really popping the hood on the hair and saying like, ooh, girl, we might need to do this, or we might need to change that. It was just like, oh, it on the outside it looks okay.
Well,
and I'm not going to say just the outside, because I know she would feel it because she was in it.
But here's the thing. I will say this. I was assessing hair in its natural state. Because I do cuts dry.
Right.
Wet, I can do it. But I had to admit that this way, number one, it was easier. Mm-hmm. It was easier not only for me, but it was also easy for you, because when I said I was getting ready to cut your hair and you couldn't see what needed to go, I had to do a lot more explaining. When I straighten that hair out, it's easier for me to see even more. Mm-hmm. And that's if you, again, we're not focused on the shape, the style, all the things. We're focused on the health of the hair. So when you get focused on the health of the hair, you start to do things to assess the health of the hair, right? And so even I had to change and say, am I willing to just see what is being said, to see if there's something to it? And as a result, I saw what I needed to see, and I was like, hey, yeah, okay, yes. And it reminded me of things that I had already, I've done this before. This is not, it was just going back to the basics, really, the basics of hair care, natural hair care, and how I had been doing things before cut it kinky, before washing goes. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah. So it's not that it was that difficult to adjust, but like I said, I give credit where credit is due. These things had to be, brought out this way. And I am a perfectionist, and so I am going to cut that hair every which way to make sure that we have a good start. So the next time that you come in, and I'm like, hey, instead of maybe getting your hair cut every 3 months, or maybe you can go a little bit longer.
Okay.
4 to 6 months. But again, like I said, this depends on how you maintain the hair, as to how often. And because if you're doing a lot of stuff,
right,
then we could possibly end up back here. But it was a layered situation. It wasn't just manipulating the hair. That's not the issue by itself. It's certain products that were drying the hair out. Dry hair tends to break easy. Then you're going to have splitting. So it's a number of things that were really part of the situation. Shelley says, why does the hair continue to unravel for some after an extensive corrective cut for someone in that situation? Unravel. What way was the hair cut, and what do you mean by unravel? If you could break that question down for me. But sorry, y'all. Sorry. I had a call. My client has come through. When I first started getting my hair cut, I noticed it would seem okay, but then start to unravel on the ends. When you first started getting your hair cut, in a curly state or blown out? How you feeling?
I'm okay.
Ready to take a snooze, huh?
Hmm?
You ready to take a snooze?
A snooze?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Usually I get really quiet when I'm cutting. blown out. This was after I realized my hair was damaged, etc. So when you say unravel, I guess I really need clarification on what unraveling means for you. I'm not sure what unraveling means. Shelly, I don't know. So y'all can see the difference in this hair. And like I explained on one of my YouTube videos, that the thinning hair is not an issue if your hair is just naturally thin. But if you've got your hair is denser from the root down, and then all of a sudden you have thinning, that's usually a result of splits and some sort of damage. And every hair that doesn't meet down, your goal is to have that hair all one length as possible, but it's nearly, because each hair strand is in different phases of growth, so you're going to have hair that does not always 100% meet. Does that make sense? Like your strands, like you'll see some that have kind of pop up, but you should have more smooth strands that meet down, a lot more of those than those that are in different phases, that jaggedness and popping up of sorts. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I'm talking to you.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking to the people. That does make sense.
Well, I'm extremely proud of you of just doing this all today, because some people have to have a little bit more processing time. Some people have like, girl, see you later, never. Well, one thing I can say is it's pretty consistent throughout. It's, I imagine that front part is going to be more of a challenge.
Okay.
So that's where you're gonna be like Dora the Explorer for a minute. But I'm glad you're doing it now, because come this time, next year, you're going to be in a completely different place. Your hair is going to be super, super, super full,
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited, and I want you to feel definitely more of that partnership. Partnerships are only partnerships if it's equitable
Mm-hmm.
on both parts.
Right.
If your concerns are heard and addressed and done in a way that makes you feel valuable,
Right.
Yeah, not like just anybody, a number.
Right.
And I need you looking good out in these streets,
Right.
Because a lot of people, they compliment stuff and they don't even know what they're looking at.
Right.
I mean, I can see damage from across the room, and people say like, "Oh, your hair look good." I'm like, "No, you don't." I just want to walk around and just cut people's hair because I'm like, baby, we can do a lot better.
Right. And if I can be better, then that's what I want to do. Like, I don't want to just be holding on to the illusion of something and it's like, that's not serving a purpose.
Yeah, and that's where being style focused versus health focused, that's where we run into the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the biggest takeaway. And I would love to see these edges fill in more, if at all possible. And what I see is they have the potential, hold your head up straight for me. They have the potential to grow in a lot more.
Okay.
But we've got to concentrate on giving them the love and the moisture that they deserve. Because they can't take being dry. They will leave they're like, I'm leaving the zip code.
Right.
And so your front, that trouble area, look at that. Does it look good already?
It does.
The true line of demarcation from the damage wasn't visible. So once I cut past wherever it was, my hair stopped doing that. Now it's back to normal. No, that makes sense now that you've explained it. Yes, and if your hair is split all the way to the mid shaft, then you have to go above that mid shaft breakage. Some people are willing to do it, some people not so much, and so it's going to be a graduation. Fortunately for her, hers is not split all the way to the high heavens. I mean, she has some other things going on, like different rates of growth, probably more due to hair popping off in those areas, and a combination of the different rates. But overall, I'm getting a good amount of where the The damage exists. The problem is it's not going to be 100%, you know, as long as we keep, you know, addressing it, everything else is going to work out. It's going to grow out. But I have to respect where my client says to, you know, her deal breakers. You know, and I think she's doing a tremendous, a really good job of allowing me to do this, because a lot of people just, first of all, you know how we are when and it's time to get our hair cut.
Right.
Yeah. And the processing of the fact that, wait, well, what the heck I've been doing for 3 years?
Right.
That realization has to be processed. You know, I thought, oh, and speaking of that, do you feel like you retained any length?
Well, and that, so, you know, and I'm glad that most stylists always say, well, take pictures, because when I look at the pictures from when I first started to where I am now,
Mm-hmm.
even though, you know, I was working on better hydration levels for the hair,
Mm-hmm.
I did feel like my hair was fuller.
Mm-hmm.
And then
From when you started.
when I started with the curl specialist.
Mm-hmm.
But then over time, you know, like I said, there were a few bumps in the road that we tried to work through and, you know, address. But it could be my imagination, because like I said, it could, well, I won't say imagination, but it could be several factors. Like you said, it's not always just what you're doing to your hair, but it can also be, you know,
Medication.
your health, medication.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a point where I could visibly see that these hair strands are not the same hair strands I had. Like, they didn't look the same. And I was like, is this a sign of, you know, like my curl pattern changing? Or, you know, I couldn't put my finger on exactly what it was, but it just got to this point where it felt like a plateau, like the hair is not, it's not getting beyond where it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just seemed,
Stuck?
Yes, stuck.
Gotcha.
And I'm like, well, what's going on? You know, I'm
Doing all the things.
Yeah, I'm doing what I've been told, you know, that is right. You know, I'm not, you know, and I'm so thankful that I didn't do that, because I was encouraged a couple times. Oh, what you know, you doing good. You want to get some color? I was like, nope. Because had I got some color, I probably would be walking out here bald headed. So yeah, we just gonna hit pause on, you know, and just move ahead. It's fine.
And I must ask, you know, how are your vitamin D levels, your iron
So
levels? Because
some
of these things
right.
I'm seeing.
So
I'm kind of curious to know what we got going on.
So I did have a physical in September. Mm-hmm. So some good things were, I had lost some weight. My A1C went down.
Very well. Very good.
But I don't think I had any deficiencies with the iron level, because when we talked the first time, I was like, yes, when we talked the first time, I don't know if I had already went. Yes, I don't think I had my physical. Mm-mm. I think we talked in September.
We put that, yes, we had put that on the table in September, because we needed to figure that out.
Right, we talked in September, and I went in October for my physical.
Very well, so do tell.
So, and I meant to have it ready and up. I can probably.
Because you know I loves the numbers.
So let's see. Let me look. But I don't think there was any like vitamin D deficiency or anything.
Very good.
But I'm still just double check.
Because that's usually where we can see a big change in our hair too. So, like I said, it could be a combination of things.
That's not right. Yeah.
It could be affecting the hair.
Because when you saw, I was like that all of this makes sense. The inside matters.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people want to just look at products. Products can't do it all. But I'm getting her hand. Amanda. I love this convo. I also love how well informed you both are on everything. Health is key.
Hi, sweetheart. How are you? Good. Got this stinky stuff on my hair.
Girl, if you and my client don't sound the same way.
It does stink.
It does. This was my first time using it.
Same.
I was not prepared. Even on the drive here, I was like, my fingertips.
But
we're here.
But
The results, we're going to be happy with the results.
right. Look, the proof is in the pudding, honey.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
So do you want to see this one, the lipid panel, or do you want to see the other one, the comprehensive metabolic one?
The A1C, let's start there because pre-diabetes can
Yeah,
affect
it
the
went
hair.
down. It was
Oh,
higher.
that's good.
Yeah, it
Very
was
good.
It was higher than that, so it went down some.
You're backing back down. You're backing off of the ledge. Very good.
Where's the other one?
So keep that up because that's a good way to lose your hair in the crown.
Okay.
That's a good way to start having
So potassium.
CCCA.
Mm-hmm.
Is also a sign of pre-diabetes. Let me check your neck. Your neck is good. And I check next for thickening, insulin resistance. That'll show up that way. People be like, what you looking at my neck for? Cause you getting a whole health exam while you come to your... I can't help it. That's why. That's part of what I offer. And I tell you what labs to get so you can, understand your health. Like I say on my website, I look at hair through a nurse's eyes, and so scalp and hair health is where it's at. Get it, Dora, get it. She was like, I ain't ready to laugh yet, stop.
I know the feeling. I'm not laughing yet.
It'll be all right.
Look, my other client she's a little bit further ahead than you in the process of recovering.
Okay, yeah.
No, you are.
Oh, I
ahead
thought you
of
were saying
her.
okay.
Any words
Probably
of
not too far.
encouragement because you like your wash and goes,
yeah.
and so that's what we stuck with for you. She's not in the length retention program, but
okay.
I try.
Me, you're talking about me.
Okay. Right, but I'm doing a few things for her.
Gotcha.
For you.
I guess my words of encouragement would be it's a process. Trust the process. It takes time. But you will see results over time.
But she's heard those words before.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm not sharing nothing new. Some new words for encouragement.
Right. We need a new saying because we talking about trauma here.
Yeah.
We're talking about true issues. And so, when you've been doing all the things that you were told to do and then you find out it's not necessarily getting you where you want it to be, and your hair is not exactly in the place that you thought it would be. I need another.
That was definitely my experience. I was going to someone for years,
Same.
thinking that they were taking good care of my hair, and I started asking questions. Just wasn't comfortable about the responses I was getting because I'm looking at my hair and seeing my hair, knowing that this is different and not a good different. So I had to seek out somebody who was more thorough in their approach and listening to what I was saying and not doing a one size fits all approach. Just really taking time to get to know me and my hair and what we needed. Right. Versus, well, this is what I do for all my clients.
Exactly.
So I'm going to do it for you too.
It's similar.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I didn't have, it's not like I was a stylist before or anything, but at certain intervals in time, I'm like, hey, I've been doing this, is there anything that we might need to revisit or change, or, it's like, no, like, keep doing it. And then I would say the next appointment, like after 1 year partnership, it was like, oh yeah, I noticed this one thing about your ends are doing something.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to add this, and see if that addresses it. I'm like, okay. Do I need to change any other things? But so I'm just kind of like, okay. But I think, like I was telling Miss Aubrey, it was the last appointment that I had with them was kind of like, the feeling had been there for a while, but I was resisting because I'm like, well, she's a professional. She knows what she's doing. Like, don't think you're a know-it-all because, this isn't your profession. You do something else for work. So, I just felt like, okay, but after the last appointment, it just kind of sealed the deal for me. I was like, no, this isn't meeting my expectations, especially with the investment that I'm making.
Yeah, you're investing so much time and money. And I know Aubrey jokes about being a full, she does a health check-in, she's checking your hair, but it is like going to the doctor because you trust them. Because you're like, I'm not a hairstylist. I didn't go to school to learn this. I'm trusting you. Almost the same way you would trust a doctor. So it is disappointing when you've been, working with somebody for a while and then you realize your hair is not in the shape you would think it would be after you've invested that time and money. So it is hard.
I'm just listening to the conversation because what saddens me is that y'all both have the same situation, and it shouldn't be. It's really unacceptable, and the way that, because at the very least, I don't care what stylist you go to, listening to your client is always something that a stylist should do. I don't care what kind of stylist you are.
Right. Yeah.
I don't get that part.
Right. Especially if someone's saying, like, my hair it's not feeling right, acting right. And I'm dealing with my hair every day. But I'm seeing you, once every so months. So maybe listen to what I'm telling you as someone who's working with my hair every day. Or dealing with it every day. That is disappointing.
Yeah.
But the good part is, how many months have you been coming now to me?
I've been coming since August, I think. And one of my biggest issues was my hair was extremely dry. And the regimen Aubrey put me on, I immediately noticed a difference in my hair. Feel, the look. Other people have noticed. It looked moisturized, and I noticed that difference almost immediately, like right away. It was a huge difference.
And how many visits have you had?
This is my third visit because I had my initial appointment, then I did a follow up, and then this will be my third visit.
Okay.
And she drove down to see
me.
She actually, because I do follow-up appointments. People don't understand the importance of a follow-up appointment because you need to be able to see whether or not what you've implemented is effective. That follow-up appointment should be way less costly than the initial appointment because you're reassessing. Yes, you may just get a wash and go or whatever it is, but it's my opportunity to see if what I introduced to your hair, number one, are you allergic to it?
Right.
Is it giving you the results that you need? How are you feeling? To really check in. That one and done.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
See you in 3 months. A lot can happen.
A lot can happen. Especially after that initial visit, like you said, those initial regimen you give and those products, you want to see how they're working.
Yeah, and that's just the nurse in me. That's how I think. you immediately go back. If you give pain medicine, you need to go back to see if it's effective. Did they get relief from pain? If not, what else can you do? That's it. It's always called assessment, intervention, and response. And so that's, I guess, my approach to hair care. No, I don't guess. That is my approach to hair care. And so, yeah, that's what I do. And so, in that time, my lady, she wasn't quite as bold as you. My little friend over there, she was like, "Don't cut off all my hair, girl." I don't care what's going on. Don't cut off all my hair.
Well, today I'm like, okay, I'm headed into Florida Evans zone. Like, I need some shaping. I'm gonna be open to some more cutting. I'm like, okay. But no, with the difference in the products and getting that moisture in my hair, the wash and goes definitely last longer. Even when it gets close to time for me to wash my hair again, just because I need to start the process over again, it still looks decent. I could go out with it and be fine. Whereas before, by the time I got to that day, it would be like a hot mess. Like, I can't go anywhere.
What was and what products were you using before? Because on your hair, were you using any leave-ins? What were you using?
I wasn't using any leave-ins. I was using Uncle Funky's Curly Magic. And then I think on top of that, you pushed all that stuff out of my mind, Aubrey. It's hard for me to remember. I know, you can't even remember. All out. No, it was Uncle Funky's Curly Magic. And then I think on top of that, I used I Create Hold. And then right before I came to you, I got introduced to ENNBA Naturals.
Yep, that's what I use. That's what I do.
And then for shampoo, I was doing Inner Sense, one of the Inner Sense, and that conditioner.
The Inner Sense conditioner.
I think it was Hair Bath or something like that.
Yeah, because I had some of their conditioner because I was like, I'll try it.
Whose conditioner?
The Inner Sense. Their which one?
Okay.
I tried that, but it was like, okay, what's on sale now? Because that's when I buy stuff. So I had tried the Inner Sense. I can't remember which one. I can look back because I usually write down what I use like on my calendar. But I had tried one of the Inner Sense conditioners, and I liked it fine. Like, I didn't. It's, to me, and it could have just been my imagination, it seemed like it coated the hair better than Boost, but that could have been my imagination. I don't know. But once I ran out, like Boost or AG had a sale, so I just got more Boost, and like I just ordered some Boost earlier this week from the 40% sale. That's the only thing I got because I'm like, no, I don't need any. So
well, the typical combo was combining the Boost with the Inner Sense because it had a lot of weight in it. And I ain't mad at the conditioners. The conditioners did their thing. But you need the weight. You need the moisture. Of course, I add my own thing to it as well.
And see, I felt like I asked about that too at one point. I'm like, should I be, incorporating a deep conditioner or some kind of treatment? Oh, are you having any problems? You don't need that. Like, just stick with the program. And I'm like, okay. And then the thing again, hindsight, as they say, but
you should have gotten a deep conditioner at your curly girl maintenance trim. You should have had a deep conditioner at some point in time. Is my point.
I don't recall.
Like, that's why I made that face. I'm thinking like, what?
I don't recall it ever being like, oh, we're gonna do a deep conditioner.
No, that's part of treatment day. When you get when you
that should
come
be part
in,
of that whole.
Right. Yeah, that's when you get the treatment.
Yes.
Right.
So what you're telling me is you didn't get that part.
I mean, I know
Okay.
sometimes that they would say like, okay, we're gonna, like, I know not every time, but I know there were occasions, but again, like when you were doing my hair, you're like, okay, this is what I'm using. We're doing this for this. They didn't, like, maybe the first couple of appointments they did that, but then after a while it was just like, okay, hey, how you doing? Any problems? Okay, boom, boom, like, move along, like, it was kind of like that. And I'm sure they, have a schedule, I get that, but it was never like, okay, well, I think we should do XYZ treatment in your hair because, when's the last time you had one? Have you done one at home? No, because you say,
I don't need to.
you told me to use this.
Yeah.
Like, so, but I kept finding that odd because not that I knew what I was doing when I was, doing all the things before partnering with someone, but I would deep condition my hair from time to time. Like, I didn't do it every week, but I would, like, that was part of my regimen because I'm like, well, duh, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, oh, well, you don't have to do all that stuff. Okay, I trust
I know
you.
what, your hair feeling mega thick. I'm tired.
You don't work out.
Now, I am a perfectionist, and when I do it, I do it. So don't be freaking out here. You will leave with hair, but I know it doesn't feel
That's
like
the
it.
message you came with anyway.
Yeah, somebody on there probably getting triggered right now. She keep going over the same spot. Mind yours, mind yours.
Do not be alarmed, people that are watching. I agreed, and I'm fine with it.
Yes.
So don't come for her in the comments, please. Okay? It is fine. This was my decision.
Thank you. Because it will be somebody. She doing too much. She said she will do.
Someone always says.
Because what we are going to do is follow this regimen. So when I come back and the hair be swinging, then get in the comments.
Then what?
Then come to
Then
the
what you
comments,
have to say.
please.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
So
Yes.
yeah, well, not that I'm happy that it has happened to other people, but it just shows that
Misery loves company, right?
because your concerns are
only one.
valid.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're just like, am I imagining this or whatever? I felt that way a few times, like, because one times, and I know they didn't mean it in a negative way, but it did kind of hurt my feelings, and I feel like I'm a pretty tough-skinned person. But she was like, you trying to do too much. Like, you're overthinking it. And I'm like...
The stylist of that?
Yes. They said that to
What
me.
were you overthinking?
Well, because because it was, again, in
I need
relation...
context, baby.
It was in relation to, like, because I think I was just trying to ensure that I was, I think it was just like a culmination of, like, okay, I'm washing, I'm conditioning, and then I'm setting, should I be tweaking this, or am I, I just want to get the optimal results of what I'm trying to do. And, because if you were to look at my phone, I have notes from all of the appointments that I've been to with her.
So you're a type A.
And I think that's what she was kind of getting at. Like, you're doing too much. Because she was like, you're the kind of person that, yeah, I'm a detail-oriented person. I'm analytical. That's my job. That's what I do. So you're not finna just tell me something generic and then think I'm just finna be like, But she was like, sometimes, you just need to calm down. You're overthinking this. And I was like, I didn't feel like I was. I was just asking questions for context.
Yeah.
And for understanding. I'm like, people ask Jesus questions, he ain't go off on them, but okay, next question. So I just left it alone because I was like, well, maybe it was me, maybe I was being too much in my feelings, but that made me feel some kind of way, and I think it was at that point.
The start.
That was the start of the shift in the partnership, because sometimes I felt like when I would come for the appointment, we would go straight to the chair and there was no dialogue. And then sometimes there was, but it was just like, well, I guess it just depended on how much time she had.
Yeah.
So sometimes it would be like, okay, well, how are you feeling? Are you noticing anything? Or, it was like superficial questioning.
Mm-hmm.
It was never anything deeper or never anything like, hey,
About your hair.
Right. It was just hair questions like, are you noticing anything with your hair? Any problems? Do you have any questions? And I'm like, well, all I'm doing is a wash and go. And we've been partnered for over 2 years now, so not really.
Mm-hmm.
So that was taken as we good.
Yeah, so. So like I said, maybe I just wasn't able to put the questions together in a way that helped her understand that I felt that we should be reevaluating the approach.
Yeah.
And I do think that is exactly what you should have said or could have said. I wouldn't say should have. Body language is one of the things that I pride myself on. Only because that's what I've been schooled in. I watch people's reactions and I read between the lines of what their body is saying. So if I feel you tense,
mm-hmm.
when I pick up the shears, or if I'm doing them, if I'm going over your head too long, I can feel a change in your body. It's your vibe.
Yeah.
It changes. And I can already tell, okay, she's getting concerned that I'm still doing her hair. Hey, babe. Can you open up my new thing from TikTok, please? That's what I was wanting to say. This is my husband. Look, my unpaid assistant. Mm-hmm. But
Don't ask for a raise.
But what just take a feel through your hair. I want you to feel through your hair. How are you feeling? How does it feel to you?
It feels fine.
It feels short.
Well, yeah, that, but it feels good. The feeling is good.
So I noticed that there's a little bit of thinning right in here. Have you noticed that? I noticed, those things. But right in here just a little bit.
And you know what? It could be me because this is usually the section that is going to freeze faster.
Mm-hmm.
I can be a little heavy-handed here.
Heavy-handed
with putting products in there so that those curls will stay almost as equally as the rest.
So you're putting more products that have a lot more hold in that area.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I forget, and then sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, you need to go over this section a little bit more. So it could be user error too, that maybe I'm over manipulating this section. I don't know. But it's actually, like I said, I can remember from a long time, even when I was an early natural, this has always been, I won't say thin, but it's always just been the part of my hair that acts differently.
Yeah. And I'd love to save it and have you have a nice, cute little swoop, make it make sense. But she's going to have to go bye-bye.
Okay.
You all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My client has called it the Dora Explorer.
I did. It is.
I'm like, only you. The girl that I love to follow, she says, it's mushroom time. And she was like, yours look like Dora, though. She didn't call mine a Dora Explorer. But
I didn't want to steal the mushroom idea.
Yeah.
I took that.
But we're not going to always be here. And one thing I know is you still gonna be cute. That's one thing I do know. Because I don't do ugly. And both of y'all come in complaining about the smell of my...
It smells so bad. And I feel like it's still in my fingers.
Like, I was about to gag when I opened it.
She talking about, okay, don't throw up.
I literally was like, don't throw up and don't think about it. Like,
Don't
just,
think about it.
like, I was listening to, so I was like,
Did you use the oil first?
Yes. Well, I didn't get the oil from,
Okay.
because I misremembered. I just remembered Miss Aubrey was like, make sure you order this because it's going to go fast. So
Yeah,
my
it
mind was
did.
just
Yeah.
order the treatment.
Right.
And I was like, oh no, I was supposed to get the other part. So then I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? And she was like, do this, do this. I'm like, okay. So like I told her, it's been a long time since I put oil on my hair. So I'm like, am I using enough? Am I using too much?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm kind of greasy right now.
That's how I feel. They're like all around my...
Yeah, I had put on my little, because I was like, I'm kind of hot natured. So I'm like, I'm not putting on the coat. I put that little vest on when I came in and took it off. I was like, wow, it's so greasy. I had to go in the back and wipe it off. I was like, oh my goodness. I had the cap on.
Yeah.
But she said I applied it well, so that was a plus.
She did that thing.
I was smoothing that stuff in and trying to go in sections. I'm like, okay, this. Then I was like, I gotta go because I can't get stuck in traffic. I'm not trying to be late. So, like, I can smooth the rest of it in.
Like,
And
so now you're putting mayonnaise on your hair. Then he came over, he was like, smelly mayonnaise. Stinky mayonnaise.
It did smell kind of
Hey,
weird. Because I was like,
the proof is in the pudding.
yes, and that's what I said.
The
Like,
results speak for themselves.
I
So
said,
hey,
okay, just do what you gotta do and think about other stuff. And don't think about how I smell. So, we made it through.
yep. And your hair feels amazing. So what we got to decide is what kind of style do you want to do? Or do you want to stick with the wash and go? Do you want more of a protective style, one that lasts a little bit longer to where you don't have to really do a whole bunch?
Yeah,
because
that probably would be good. So then I don't have to worry about it for a little bit. At least a week or two.
that sounds good. Well, I'm very proud of both of you. I mean, it takes a lot to trust somebody again. The God honest truth is, a lot of people's like, oh, it's about the money. It's about the money. Well, what people don't go to work to make money.
Right.
Let's just keep it real.
Yeah.
We all here to make some money when you go to work. However, trust is more money.
Mm-hmm.
Money comes and goes.
Yeah.
But when you lose that trust, then it's harder to get that back.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the thought process that I have with trying to establish this. I've got to, you don't know me like that. You know of me, but you don't know me. And so you're trusting that I'm going to take better care of your hair than what you've already experienced. Right. And so, yeah, in a sense, you're having to trust again, and that can be very scary. So I just want to say I appreciate you guys for trusting me, because, you had choices. you had places that you could go and spend your money, and I ain't cheap either, so, I mean, I know that. But I feel like, and you can attest, I mean, you've been a client, whether or not because we were talking about the value should match the charge.
Yeah.
You
Definitely.
know.
Well, even at my first appointment, we talked for a good amount of time about, what I've done through my hair recently, and even going back, what I've experienced with my hair, what I'm looking for. It was a much more thorough conversation and consultation than I've ever had with any other stylist. So that let me know she was just as invested as I was and interested in what I was looking for and hoping to get out of the partnership. Because that's what it is,
right?
Partnership. Because you can come to an appointment, but if you don't follow the regimen and advice she sends you home with, for nothing, it's almost like you get to start over the next time you come. So.
And all of what I'm doing now is a clear result of having assessed what was going on, doing my own research, and trying to understand what went wrong, how it went wrong, not just what I heard, but like I said, going back to the basics and doing my own research to, even with my clients, even if they didn't say anything was wrong, we about to change it up before something is wrong.
Yeah.
Because everybody cannot tell the same lie. And that's been my whole thing. Like, that's it right there. And it takes me a long time to be this thorough with people's hair. Like, you see, this is some people can be faster, I guess, than me. But I'm pretty, as you can see, pretty thorough, and trying to make sure that I'm getting everything that I can get and making it make sense. So far as, she don't want to look crazy. She wants to have a nice, shape and whatnot, so. I'm pretty.
My assistant's earning that raise he's about to ask for.
Yeah.
Thank you, baby. And what people don't realize, when I'm trimming it, I'm like doing like very small clippings. They think but I'm like making sure that thing is extra tight, because I don't want to have to do a whole bunch of work when you come in. To, once I start getting the hair, I want to be able to do a dry cut or something like that. Especially if you know how to do your hair. Hmm. What you said, babe?
Need something to eat?
I would love for you to warm up that sandwich. On this morning, just like 10 seconds. Ta-da! So if I do the coiligo, you're gonna look real short because that takes advantage of the shrinkage and the elasticity in your hair. So if you're okay with that, then I can do it. If not, we can discuss other options.
That's what are the options?
Hmm.
I said, what are the other options?
Kind of more or less a flat twist set up in the top and maybe some coils or something.
I guess I could put my specs on and see what we got here. Yeah, I can notice that now. Like
Just to keep some tension off of the front, we can twist it and then do some others. I think the coiligo would be cute, actually, in my opinion.
Okay.
But I want you to feel comfortable because I know it's been a lot today.
Okay.
And if you're a person that appreciates and wants to show some kind of length, that ain't gonna be it.
Well, I was going to say it's going to be obvious no matter what style it's going to be like, oh, you don't have as much hair as you left the house with, so it's definitely going to be different. So
Yeah. I'm not against you doing a wash and go if that's what you want to do.
no,
Okay.
I would like to just go ahead and start.
More protective.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, y'all, I am about to head on out because I've got a lot going on here. But she is in a better place, a better start, and we're about to get to it. I will show some finished styling. Yep. So right now she's just trying to figure out how much hair she got left and what she can do with it, I guess. Thank y'all for joining. I hope it's been informative and we will reconvene. You're welcome. You're welcome, Shelley. Very good. I think it's been real good.